Okay, so once you have your sheet cut out, you're going to take the two corners. So this is the 3" by 3" square that we had cut out, and you're going to join them right sides together, and you're going to create a seam in the corner. This is going to be the pocket of the sheet. So now that you have the fabric into the machine, you're going to want to back stitch. You're going to stitch roughly 1/4 inch or so. You're going to want to back stitch at the beginning and then just sew straight down the seam line. Sorry about that. And then back stitch at the end as well. Cut your thread, release it, and you now have one pocket done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3 pockets, and I will come back as soon as I'm done with that. So now that I have the corners done, I am actually going to be using 60 inches of 1/4 inch elastic to create a snug fit on the sheet. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm still going to have the wrong side of the sheet facing me. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold the sheet over just over 1/4 inch to create the casing for the elastic. So it's hard to do this one-handed, but you're going to fold it over and just kind of make sure that it fits in there and leave just a little bit of room at the end for the sewing needle to go over without actually sewing over the elastic. You can also sew it over, fold it over one last time just to make sure that it's a snug kind of case. I think for this sheet I'm actually only just going to fold it over the one time though. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back to show you how you're going to get the elastic into the casing in just a second. When sewing the casing, you're going to want to sew along the inside folded edge as closely to the line as possible. You are not going to want to sew over on either side or on this side, because then you won't actually have a casing. When sewing the casing, another thing to remember is to not actually sew this all the way closed. We're going to want to leave roughly about 1 inch gap or so about this much of a space between where we started from and where we're going to end, so that we can thread the elastic onto the inside of this. Okay, so now that I have the opening open right here, the easiest way that I found to thread the elastic through the casing is by taking just 2 safety pins. What you're going to do is attach the safety pin to one side of the elastic and fasten it just on the outside of the opening, just like that. Focus. The next thing you're going to do is take the other end of the elastic, which is right here, and again this is just 60 inches of 1/4 inch elastic, and you're going to attach this to the same way, just fasten it, and this one is the one that we're actually going to thread through. So when you're threading it through, you're going to start at the opening, and you're just going to tuck the safety pin right onto the inside and just start kind of pushing it through. Just like this. And you're gonna just keep squishing the fabric down onto the safety pin and then grabbing the head of the safety pin and pulling. You're gonna do this all the way around the sheet. And when you get back to the opening, I'll show you what you're going to do next. Now that I have the elastic pushed all the way through to the end of the casing, what I'm going to want to do is overlap the ends and sew them together without actually sewing onto the fabric. So you're just going to want to sew these parts just like this. So now that I have these sewn together into a loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the fabric tight and I'm going to finish off the seam that was right here and just finish that piece off. Okay, so once you have your sheet